Well. That's a shock, wasn't it? 6 minutes before we come on the air.
Yeah.
So do you think... Do we know whether he's been sacked or has he resigned?
He's resigned.
Well, he's obviously not got the funds he thought he was going to get. He's not replaced some of the players that left in the summer. It's been building. They got beat by Hearts 3-1. I'll try and get my mate John Hartson on, who's in the know at some point tonight. If he's awake, John.
You're going to phone him, he's not going to answer, is he?
Well, I'll try in one of the breaks. He's going to... Yeah.
Don't fancy that.
But Martin O'Neill's in there.
Martin O'Neill goes in, yeah. Martin O'Neill. Shaun Maloney as well. Shaun Maloney, just speaking to Hugh outside, said he's all right. Said he knows his stuff. Said he's not a bad manager. He said at Wigan, he done a good job. So Martin O'Neill goes in there with a wealth of experience. Do you think they'll be looking at maybe to have permanent if they do all right?
I'm sure Martin will. I'm sure he won't be just going thinking I'm going to put my reputation on the line here and get nothing at the end of it. I'm sure he'll be thinking, right, if I do well here, they'll give me a contract. And he's back in the hot seat again because I don't know when's the last time he managed, Martin.
It's got to be a while ago. It's got to be a while ago. But listen, Martin O'Neill was a great manager. Who's to say he can't go in there and do a good job with Shaun Maloney, who's obviously younger than him, who can be his bit of a his sidekick, and Martin O'Neill can be the man with the experience and the respect that the players probably need. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
look, they've had a bad start to the season, really, haven't they, Celtic? And that getting beat at the weekend was a stinker for them. If Rangers are in turmoil, really they should be walking this. So maybe he's come to the end, Brendan, and thought it's probably just not for me. Maybe there's another job in the pipeline maybe coming up that he might think that he wants and probably thinks I'm going to leave now.
Maybe, yeah.
The Wolves job might be one that Brendan Rodgers looks at and might have made contact and thinks, you know what, before it gets any worse, I need to get out of here.
Well, struggling Wolves. Not won a game, have they?
Wolves are terrible.
At the moment, struggling.
Yeah, no, they're having a stinker.
Do you know, I was listening to, on a different subject today, I was listening to, it was an MP talking about the prison service, right?
Right.
He was talking about the prison service now and all the prisons we've got and the prison, what salaries they get, the prison guards and their average age.
Right.
And he said it's important that they can see something further up the line, these prison guards, they're on like 35 grand a year, but it's important that their salaries go up.
Right.
So they stay in the service because it's experience that's needed when you're dealing with prisoners, when to put an arm around them,
right,
when to realise this man's dangerous. He said that comes with experience.
Okay.
And that's exactly what Celtic need. Not a prison guard, but somebody like Martin O'Neill.
What are you on about?
Well, what I'm trying to say is you can't buy experience.
And you've already bamboozled me.
Right.
What are you going on about?
Well, you can't buy experience. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, Brendan Rodgers is
when you're dealing with men, because no, they've put Martin O'Neill in charge because he's an experienced man and he'll know what to do in this situation now. He's been in it before and he'll know.
So you compare Martin O'Neill to a prison guard?
Well, no, just experience in it, Jamie. That's what, most of the leaders of countries are experienced elderly men.
Oh, you kill me, you do, honestly.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think Martin O'Neill's perfect.
Yeah, look, listen, Martin's a great guy. I've done a show with him only a few months ago. He was in good form, but crazy to think that I was sitting next to him on a couch talking about football. Now he's going to be managing, one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in Scottish football and European football. A huge football club. So fair play to him. He deserves to get back in the game. It'd be interesting to see how he does. I'm going to just read you out the Celtic statement. Celtic Football Club can confirm that football manager Brendan Rodgers has today tendered his resignation. It's been accepted by the club. Brendan will leave his role with immediate effect. The club appreciate Brendan's contributions to Celtic during his 2 very successful periods at the club. Brendan leaves Celtic with our thanks for the role he has played during a period of continued success for the club, and we wish him further success in the future. The process to appoint a new permanent manager is underway, and the club will update supporters further on this as soon as possible. We're pleased that during his interim period, former Celtic manager Martin O'Neill, former Celtic player Shaun Maloney, have agreed to take charge of Celtic first team matters. Further details will be confirmed shortly. Let's go straight to some calls before we talk about the Premier League action as well. Liverpool are a big talking point. But let's go to Mark. He's a Celtic fan. All right, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
How you doing?
I'm all right, Mark. I mean, look, is this a shock or is it expected?
Well, I I think losing a manager at any time is always a shock. But this year we've just... It's been a bit of a grim watch, lads. It's been a bit of a grim watch.
Yeah.
After the try to get into the Champions League against a team, I think it was ranked 140, maybe even bigger than that in Europe, to play 2 games and not score was a crime in itself. But I think it was most of the fans listen to the kind of phone-ins in Scottish radio today, and I think the lion's share of the fans were wanting Rodgers to go.
Yeah.
Myself, I thought he was on thin ice, but obviously that ice is cracked and he's gone.
Yeah. Well, he's walked. He's resigned, but maybe maybe he's walked before he's pushed. Do you know what I mean? So.
But then again, I was listening to you guys. Maybe there might be a job in the pipeline for him.
Yeah.
And I think, like, to be honest with you, Jamie and Dean, he's come out with some awful statements this year.
Has he?
Brendan Rodgers has never took the blame himself. It's either been the board's fault, the team's fault. He's never put his hands up once and said, look, this could be me. Last Sunday, he made a statement saying, I've got a team that's like a Honda Civic, and they want me to be a Ferrari.
Yeah.
So he's basically come out and slated all the players.
Slated the players, yeah.
Slated all the yeah. So I think he's bought his own ticket and decided to leave. Did I say this is a good thing? No, it's not a good thing. Not in a sense, it's not a good thing. Because that was our manager. He's brought us great success.
Yes.
But then again, that's him got to his 3rd season as a Celtic manager and bolted again. So Brendan Rodgers, he's only good for 2. He's only a 2-pinter. You know what I mean? He's only a 2-pinter.
All right. Well, Mark, listen, thanks for your call. I've got talkSPORT's Scottish football correspondent David Tanner with us now. All right, Dave?
Hi, Dave.
Gentlemen, good evening. What a shock this is. Anyone who says they saw this coming, I would say to you, would be telling you lies. This is a real bolt from the blue. If one thing, if Brendan Rodgers was to be sacked, it would have been a huge, huge decision by the football club. But for him to resign is unbelievable because, let's be quite honest about it, he couldn't resign for PR reasons, given that when he resigned previously to take up the Leicester job, his relationship with the Celtic support was fractured. He managed to repair that. So for him to leave voluntarily is quite incredible. He's not going to another job, of course, but this is a bolt from the blue. It's incredible.
Dave, what happened in the summer then? Because I'm not 100% sure, but I gather that some players left and he wasn't given the funds to replace them.
Yeah, Celtic have been weakened since the start of the year. Kyogo was first to go in January. He was a terrific goal scorer for the football club, and with players that were close to being as good. So other players are showing signs of ageing. Callum McGregor gave up the Scotland team, the captain, and Callum McGregor's been the best player in Scotland for a number of years now. But time is beginning to catch up on him. And this particular calendar year, Celtic have not won a big game. They did terrifically well against Bayern Munich home and away, but they didn't go through from that knockout stage in the Champions League. They've not won an Old Firm game since last September. And then there was that incredible defeat in the Scottish Cup to a woeful Aberdeen team in the final, which nobody saw coming. And things have got worse, as one of your recent callers said there. There was the Karat Amati being unable to get a team from Kazakhstan home or away in the qualifiers for the Champions League. They then, of course, dropped into the Europa League, and they got their first win last week. And it looked at that point as though things were beginning to turn for the better for Brendan Rodgers. But losing at Hearts, on the back of losing at Dundee for the first time since the 1980s, shows there is a genuine decline in the squad and in the team. And Brendan Rodgers has been looking beleaguered, but for him to take the ultimate step and resign as manager. It's quite extraordinary.
Dave, look, Martin O'Neill comes in with Shaun Maloney. Two big names in the game, especially at Celtic. Do you think they could potentially get it permanently if they do all right?
I don't think so. Martin's 73 now. I remember Walter Smith taking over at Rangers in his late 50s, early 60s for a short period of time. I think I hosted a dinner with Martin O'Neill last year, and it really struck me he's fit as a fiddle. We see him, of course, on with Jim and Simon in the morning regularly in talkSPORT, and he makes a lot of sense. And he's a real no-nonsense manager. He's respected by everybody in Scottish football and British and Irish football. So, I think that's a very smart appointment with Shaun Maloney. He's had a couple of spots at management with Hibernian and with Wigan. And of course, he's been on the books since the start of the year at Celtic in a coaching role. In managing loans and such like. So both smart guys. So they could easily get Celtic through to the end of the season. Martin O'Neill was an impact manager. He came in straight away, but of course when he came in at Celtic, he signed Chris Sutton, who's broke Celtic's transfer record at that time. He made Henrik Larsson a better player, and he made Celtic a better team when they won their first game, and they just kept on winning under Martin O'Neill. Terrific momentum. It's a different group of players he's picking up this time, but he is a terrific motivator. People gets into their heads, and certainly Celtic needed a change because since the start of this season, when Brendan Rodgers criticised the board on the eve of the season, it's been quite clear that there's been something seriously wrong within Celtic Park. Martin O'Neill will fix that immediately. He gets on very well with Dermot Desmond, the principal shareholder at the football club, and things will stabilise. But that is a squad which is injury hit at the moment. Cameron Carter-Vickers, Alistair Johnston, Inicho were all injured last week. They were missing at Hearts. He'll be out for a number of months, and Celtic don't have very much to work with until January. So it's going to be a tough job, but Martin O'Neill certainly will galvanise the players, and the fans will rally around him. Absolutely no doubt about that.